I'm Stephy Fung. I'm a digital fashion artist. I don't have a background in fashion as such. I actually studied at University of the Arts London, studying graphic design, and then I moved into 3D and eventually digital fashion. It wasn't something I planned to do. It was actually something I really fell into. I worked on a project in a collective which is called DigiGirl. It's a collective for 3D artists that are LGBTQ plus and woman led. And if you guys know anything about the 3D industry, is that it's quite male dominated. So I really wanted to look at a collective that I could really relate to. And they were commissioned by Selfridges, a luxury department store in London, to digitalize a physical collection. Now, at that point, I didn't know what digital fashion was really. My job back then was a 3D motion designer. So I know how to animate in 3D, I knew how to light in 3D, I knew how to texture in 3D. And they actually asked the group, guys, we've got this amazing project, who would like to be a part of it, who would like to apply. I was freshly graduated from university, had a lot of time, had nothing to do, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to apply and see what this is all about. It sounds really exciting. And so I was helping on 3D side of things, and actually in the group of us, there were about 2 to 3 digital fashion artists that were working in Clo 3D or Marvelous Designer. Now this was the first time I ever seen it in person. I just saw what they made, and I realized that it was 3D, and I thought, you know what, I already know 3D. This is really cool. You know, they're making this garment that's physical into something digital, and we put it into these surreal worlds in the end, and it was just like a magical moment. And so after that project, I decided to just get a bit creative during that time. I had extra time, thought I would just start creating things that made me happy essentially. And I dived into digital fashion with the mindset of experimenting, being playful, but also expressing my Chinese identity, because I haven't really done that in my previous industries before, where I could express myself confidently and within my works. And so digital fashion really became the medium where I felt very comfortable to do that. The way that I learned was actually online through YouTube or Twitch streams. And in terms of accessibility, it's very easy to get into, because all you do need is a computer, programs, and then the knowledge to back it up. In the traditional fashion industry, the barriers are a lot higher, because you need to have not only the right equipment and the knowledge and the experience and the right connections. You need all of that in order to even get into the industry. What I really love about 3D is the fact that you can make your dream world. You can make things that are not possible within physical constructions or physical realities. For me, it's almost like a way to escape. It's like magic. You can make anything happen and make everything exaggerated, and it's one of the most powerful ways of expression that doesn't need to break my bank because all I need is my computer in order to generate all of this 3D animation essentially. Really, I think it's the ability to be able to do it all by yourself. If you think about putting on a fashion show, even to rent the space, even to hire models, even to make, all the different garments that you have to make, all the samples you have to make, it requires a lot of energy, people, teams, and money to make all of that happen. You could essentially make a digital fashion catwalk and make all the scenery and make all the garments. You could iterate the colors very quickly. You can make them different fabrics. The models can be all different sizes, and that's down to you. And you could, as like a sole designer or artist, you could actually make a lot with less of a cost compared to physical. Digital fashion has the word fashion in it, so you should definitely know how to make clothes, which is why I'm spending time to do that now. And what's very interesting is that now that I have made lots of digital fashion clothing in the digital realms, I have started to venture into the physical realm. And that is where you start to see how both worlds collide, because sometimes what you create in digital and what is optimized or which is perfect for the metaverse will not translate well into physical, because there's so many more considerations And so this is something that I've learned that, okay, if I ever want to bring my digital designs into physical, I need to learn how the production line goes, how it goes through manufacturing, how to make a tech pack. This is stuff I haven't learned before, but I will be learning. And I just want to put it out there for anyone who's in my position as well, who hasn't really had a fashion background, that is not necessarily a bad thing, but just know that you should aim to also back up your knowledge with physical production if you want to go into that direction. Digital fashion has been a way for me to express my identity as a British Chinese artist. Even in the 3D space, there were not a lot of people doing what I was doing, and again in digital fashion, the same thing. But I felt more comfortable showcasing my identity within digital fashion. What I tend to do is showcase my dream outfits that I would love to wear, and it's always a mixture of traditional Chinese elements with a touch of streetwear. And I feel like that is a great way to describe who I am as a person. And I am slowly building up my body of work and what types of clothing I like to show to the world, and I feel like it best represents me. And I think that's a beautiful thing, to be confident in yourself to do that, which is why I call myself more so an artist than a designer, because it's so much of me than me working for another brand with their briefs and what they want. I'm definitely more expressive, and I feel powerful doing that. And I wish more people can do that, especially showcasing, it doesn't have to be culture, but them as a person and their experiences, how they can showcase it with digital fashion. Both. The current project that I'm working on is actually a new collection that I will be launching for Chinese New Year. It is with Psyche. It's an incubator program that I'm currently with, and it's very exciting because they are a collective which is actually pushing forward the digital fashion narrative. They had an event with British Fashion Council, and they highlighted the collective with all of our works, and it was a beautiful moment of digital fashion celebration because you don't typically have that at London Fashion Week. Just having a place solely focused on digital fashion, that was a huge moment where I got to showcase my first physical piece. They are like an advisory board where they give you the resources to industry. They guide you as a business because, especially in my case, I'm a creative. I have a little business skill, so I'm just there learning both. I think it's very important, especially if you are a fashion brand and you want to become bigger, you want to make your fashion brand work, digital fashion or fashion, you have got to learn business skills and being able to learn how to function as a business, especially make it sustainable for the future, because again, this space is so new. I have no idea what's going to happen in 5 years' time. Maybe my job might change again in 5 years' time, especially with the rise of AI and technology. It's very fast paced. Within this year's program, at least what I'm doing for me right now is learning business, fusing that together so that I can be a little bit wiser in this space. If you're right at the beginning, you want to start learning these programs, is solidifying your knowledge within 3D and fashion. My top tip for anyone who's starting out is to start making the basic t-shirt, trousers, skirts. And if you have like one goal per week where you're making all of these basic garments, you can use those basic garments and start tweaking the style to whatever other style you would like it to be. That's when you start having fun, is when you've learnt the basics, you know how to make a basic garment, and then you can start adding your own style on it. So that's what I really recommend. Then you need to start being confident in talking about your works and, you know, expressing yourself and expressing your ideas to people instead of just keeping it in your notepad or in your brain. And I think that as much as being a creative is great, having these people and social skills are highly important, not only for people to understand you, but also for you to work with other people. Because again, being creative, it is a social job. You will need to talk to other people and get on with other people. The main advice I would give is to not give up and don't be afraid to fail, because if you're failing, you're learning something. If you've got any questions, there are people who are doing it in industry, and actually if you ask them, how did you do that, because I failed, if you approach people in a genuine way, especially people you look up to in industry, or you know, wherever it is you are learning from, people will most likely explain to you and give you help. So I think, again, just don't be afraid to ask questions, don't be afraid to fail, just keep doing your best, keep going.